Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I'm excited to share a card with you. It's actually not two-dimensional and it's a pretty easy card to make. I'm going to be using the Say It With Stamps A2 Tossed Flowers die set. This is an A2 die that will cut out a card front panel, so it makes card making very easy. We're going to use this all along, and then for our sentiment we're going to use the Say It With Stamps Valentine sentiments. This is a lot of love sentiments, but love can be used for every day. That's what I like, and I'm going to use this little love you circle for our card. So we're going to jump in and get started. We're going to start off by doing a little bit of ink blending. For my background, this is a sheet of 5.5 wide by 8.5. It's just going to give you more surface to kind of wiggle that background stamp to position it where I want it as far as colors go. I have 4 inks. I have like maybe a pinky orangey color, corally color, a green, a blue, and then also a yellow. I'm going to start by inking up our corally color, and we're going to go over the top of our cardstock, and we'll add a little color to it. After we have this, we're gonna leave the cap off because we might use it again. We're actually gonna use put these in the color of order we're gonna use. Okay, next we're gonna use our yellow, and we're gonna blend yellow with our coral. I love when you overlap these two. I just love that you get that extra middle color. You see, so we turn 2 colors into 3, and then we're going to take our green ink and we'll do the same thing. And then I'm going to bring in my blue ink and blend these two together. Once I'm happy with the blending, I think this is going to cover our tossed flower die. Let's take this out. You can see the size of it. We'll put and it looks like I might need to do a little bit more blending on the bottom and then on the top. So let's do that. Okay. And that's going to work out lovely. So I'm going to put my inks away. And then we're going to die cut this out. We'll run this through the die cut machine. And then while I'm at it, I have a piece of some gold cardstock. We're going to die cut out this with the gold also. So I'll be right back. Okay, I ran this through my die cut machine. And what I'm going to do is carefully lift out the background. What I'm going to do while it's still here is tape the inside pieces. Some of the edges popped out, and I'm going to leave it like that. I think that's going to look really cool on my background. But I do want to take some tape, and I'm using my pixie tape just so the others don't fall out. I'm going to go over the back of my floral and tape these into place. Okay, I think that's going to work out good. I've covered it pretty well. So now we can lift out our background. And you can see some of the areas popped out. To me, that looks really neat because when you put your gold, let's flip it around. Well, we'll flip this around. When you put the gold on top, I just think it adds, I think it looks neat. So we're going to roll with this. I think it looks really gorgeous. It almost looks lacy. So to get this on top of our background panel, I'm going to be using some micro dot sheets. I'm just going to remove the release paper. If you wanted to use glue, you very well could, but I think this is just going to be easier. I'm just going to tack this down, put the release paper over the top, and I'm going to really burnish this in there. Okay, carefully, because it is very delicate. You just want to be really careful when you remove it. And then I'm going to take my background, and we're just going to place it. Oh, we're going to make sure it's the right way. We're going to place this over our die cut piece. Some pieces want to pop back out, so you can just use your tweezers, pop it back in, and just tape it down. That way, we have a beautiful background with some edge detail. I just think that looks so pretty. Okay, now we need a sentiment, so we're using the Say It With Stamps Valentine Sentiments. And I'm going to use an acrylic block. We're going to create a gradient of a sentiment. So to do that, I'm going to ink up my Love You with my yellow ink. And then I'm going to bring in my blue ink, and we're going to add a little shading. I'm going to go halfway up with this. And then I'm going, since the yellow is kind of a light color, I'm going to take my blue finger dauber and just kind of spread that color out over the top. This is just going to soften it, but create a different, a gradient really. Let's stamp this on some white cardstock. And then our sentiment is good to go. Now I'm going to use my scalloped frame die set. This is a slimline die set, but there is a tag die in here that will fit that sentiment beautifully. And of course, this also, there is a coordinating die set that will go with the Valentine sentiments. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up, making sure that circle is right over the top. And then I can tape this down and run this through my die cut machine. Okay, I'm just going to punch out that hole. So there is my sentiment. Now I die cut out another circle that was slightly larger than this one. We're going to do a 3-layer mat. So using my tape runner, we're going to flip over our sentiment, and we're going to add this to a slightly larger piece of gold cardstock. This is the same gold cardstock that we use for our background panel. And then I'm going to add adhesive behind my gold and mat this on a slightly larger piece of vellum. So we have 3 layers. I'm not concerned about us covering the hole up of our tag, because we can always do a faux bow. So we have our background and we have our sentiment. Let's bring in our card base, and I'm going to flip this panel over. Since we have pixie tape behind our background panel, I suggest using glue behind it. This, if you use the glue too, it's going to help get all those areas that may fall out, so you don't have to do that extra inlaying. This is just going to help secure it to our card base. Just put little dots of glue everywhere, and then it'll help secure all those small pieces that we didn't tack down with our pixie tape. Okay, I think it's well glued. We are going to add this to our A2 size card base carefully. And I'm making sure that my butterflies are right side up. You see the butterfly antennas? You can kind of judge if your panel's right side up, if your butterflies are right side up. We'll tack this down, and I love the edge that this gives with just that hint of color. For this one, we're going to flip over and we're going to add some foam adhesive behind it. And then this is going to go in the center, the upper center of my card here. And then last but not least, we're going to add a bow. I'm going to be I'm going to use a glue dot since we covered up that bow, the circle where we would put our bow. I'm just going to use a glue dot. Once we have our glue dot in the middle, I can just go ahead and tie a bow with some white twine. And really any color twine you have would work great. I think white will stand out a little better though, keeping it kind of soft. Putting that knot where that glue dot is. And then we can just trim the tail. We'll do a faux bow. And it's nice and flat to where you can mail this, which makes it really nice. Not typical for my cards because I usually like lots of layers, but it's so pretty. I'm not going to add any sequins or anything because that gold does the job. So that finished off my project today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day.